Hi, everybody. Wanted to make a quick video here and go into something that I've found recently, I've been working on for the past couple of months, and I've been able to sink my teeth into it, and it's helped me a lot and grow as a developer and just kind of given me something to do. And I thought I could make a video and kind of give, at the very least, some resources and hopefully people that are in a similar position to where I was can use these tools and really unlock in a similar way that I did what we'll talk about here, and that's modding Counterstrike 2. I wanted to get this out because I think the biggest thing standing in people's way is simply just not knowing where to look. I think modding in the past has been kind of difficult, very spread around. You just had to know where to look. And I think nowadays it's gotten a lot better, and it's just about knowing where those tools are. So hopefully I can help with that. This video is going to be split into 3 different parts. I think we'll go first into probably the audience for the video, who I think could be helped by this, and kind of get the most use out of it, as well as kind of monetary or infrastructure requirements for it. Chapter 2 will probably go into hosting a server, actually setting one up, what to look out for, where you can get more information on it, and just kind of getting started with that. And then chapter 3 will go into actually, writing plugins, what you need for it, what knowledge you need for it, and how to do it. So without further ado, why don't we start with the first part, and that's who I think could benefit the most. So like myself, I think most people would be of 2 distinct positions. First, and probably most common, is you're maybe in school or you just learned how to program, you kind of have the knowledge of how to code, and you're looking for a project to sink your teeth into and kind of really get started with something. And that's exactly like I was, because this is going to be perfect for you. It really allows you to kind of get your knowledge and put it into a project that you can display on your GitHub. Allows you to be a part of a community, and really start small and grow from there. And I think that's really good. I think there's the second kind of portion of that, and you're more of like a sysadmin or somebody who has hosted modded servers for other games, or you're just kind of in the scene of community servers and you're looking to start it yourself. I think this should be a great video for you to kind of get you what you need to know about Counter-Strike and go from there. I think the expectation should be set then that there's kind of different levels to hosting a server and developing plugins. If you strictly want it to be personal and you just want to kind of do it on your own time, write your own plugins and see what's what, then there is absolutely no cost. It's entirely free. The resources are all open source. You have access to them already. You just need a copy of the game and put in the tools that are free for you. No overhead. It's the game. Basically, you just need space on your hard drive for Counter-Strike. That's it. There's probably a level above that, which is, you want to actually be able to connect to your server and run your server alongside your game. You kind of want to actually get on your server and play. And that can just be done on your machine. You'll just need some extra space, and then your computer needs to be good enough to essentially just run 2 versions of the Counter-Strike application, and then you're good to go. Again, no real price. It's not that intensive. So, if you have Counter-Strike at low settings, you could probably get away with this on your machine, and that's it. You could technically host it, if you just want to host it locally with friends, or you're just looking for something to get into, that might be perfect for you. I'd say it's kind of the level 2 of that. And there's the level 3, that'll be more like professional. You want to host your server and have plugins on it. You want to, customize it, have a community built around it, have it be public. That you probably get into where you'll need to invest a little bit. But even then, you know, I use a service called DatHost. It just, you basically pay somebody else to work out all the hard stuff, pay for the server infrastructure, right? All of that. And it's $10 a month, 10 USD, you know, convert that however you need. I think that's pretty good. It's kind of like a little bit of a subscription cost, but takes all the work out of you. So, you know, that's kind of the expectations for prices. Reasonable, but hey, you know, there's kind of options out there for everybody. If you have a spare computer lying around and you don't want to spend any money, you could probably do it that way. So talking about all these servers, it's, you know, kind of go into chapter 2 here of like what to do for a server. You know, how do you get it started? Step 1 of that is going to be to check the description. There's a guide that I found, and that was the probably best, you know, single piece that unlocked it for me. It goes through each of the different examples, takes you to the resources to actually get it off of Steam. There is like a Steam API that you use to download Counterstrike that you can use. So yeah, I would recommend first step, read through that. You can kind of follow along with that, but I would say do that, figure out which side you want to get on. Cause the guide is really nice in that it'll give you both options that we talked about, right? So you can either host your, you know, kind of like use your game, just download Counterstrike through Steam, add a couple of directories called Metamod and Counterstrike Sharp, and you're good to go. Or, you know, it does the fancy way of, you know, you could have your own server or just put it on a separate directory where you use the Steam API directly and a little bit of command line to download a whole nother copy of the game and do it that way. So I'd say stop there. However, what you're going to be looking for is if you go into your game files and you actually look, you'll see now that you have to create another directory within that called Metamod. And then within Metamod, there's a folder called Counterstrike Sharp. Basically, what you're looking at is Metamod is the layer that interacts with the Counterstrike API and kind of exposes it to external programs to then, you know, hook into. Counterstrike Sharp is what then takes that and allows you to write C Sharp and DLL and all that kind of to interact with that, right? It's an extra layer above it. So we have that. You know, you follow the guide. You either have it in your Counterstrike directory, you have it in a separate directory and all that, and you have your Metamod and your Counterstrike Sharp. The only other thing to check out then is DatHost, and that was the other tool that I mentioned. Essentially, like I said, all that's there is you're just paying somebody else to manage your server for you, right? All the infrastructure, it's all there. You essentially press a button, give them a few dollars, and then you have all this. And you can set all the settings. It does that automatically. You upload your plugins, and then all you have to do, which is going to be the next few things I'll talk about, is a couple of additional tools to look into. So that's going to be first WinSCP. If you've never used it for anything else as an FTP client, again, if you wanted to know the nitty gritty, probably not the best video for you, but essentially all it is it connects your files, you know, your file directory to the external server. So to DatHost server, right? So if you see here, you check all the, you know, the file paths at the top, it's literally just where my plugin gets billed to, and then where I'm going to put it on that external server, on the DatHost server. That's it. So, you know, a very useful tool, basically just makes it really easy. Whatever, kind of connects your two machines so that all you have to have is Visual Studio, which we'll talk about here in a second, and then just upload it to your server. And that's nice and easy, keeps it nice and simple. I wanted to talk about one more thing. So if we go back to DatHost, and we go into here, so the console is going to be very nice because we can do this. So CSS plugins is the command for it, and CSS plugins list, and there we go. So this is going to be very nice for you because what it does is it tells you all the plugins and then their statuses. Okay. And that's just very nice when if you get into it and you have a lot of plugins or you're not sure what's running and what's not, that's going to be very useful. And it's just one of those where it might not be documented very well, and I figured it out. So, you know, I'd recommend holding that. And then there's a couple more. CSS plugins, stop, and then name of yours is how you can live stop a plugin, and then do the same thing the opposite way. CSS plugins, start your plugin to stop it. So some plugins, you may need to do that if you update it. So you put new files in there, you might want to stop it and then start it. Or if you notice here, there's some blue text up here. What will happen and what Counterstrike Sharp does is it actually live reloads your plugins. So if you did what I just did here, right, and you go to the WinSCP, you drag and drop your files, right, it'll automatically reload this plugin. So as soon as I did this executes plugin here automatically reloaded. Okay, so all you needed to do, for instance, if you're doing executes where it has to start a round, all you'll need to do is start a new round in your Counterstrike server, right? So again, that's where it just gets to, it simplifies it, because the modding used to be kind of tricky and complicated, and I think it's just gotten so much better now, and I think a lot more people can kind of get use out of it. So I just want to spread that. So just to finish off with the server creation part of it, I think the biggest takeaway is figure out what's best for you. Is it, just hosting it on your game, just using Steam? Do you want to make a new directory and get like a different version of it so that you can kind of use your game and connect to your server? Or do you just want to pay a few bucks, have somebody else do the dirty work, and then just connect to it with WinSCP here? Kind of choose which path and then get a server set up. Just get a blank server set up and then connect to it. However you need to get it running, see what's what, and just kind of get it running and get connected to it, run some commands on it, and just try it out. Start there and then build your way up. Last thing as well is for server management, where to find plugins, and that is just going to be through the Discord. There is a Counterstrike Sharp Discord. Your best bet is going to be to look there, look in the releases section, and I'm just going to give the disclaimer that I don't know how well they regulate that release section. So at the very start, before you know what you're looking for, definitely stick to like the most common, most upvoted safe plugins, let's say, right? I think that's just going to be the best piece of advice. Why don't we move then into chapter 3, for lack of a fancier word, and that's actually developing plugins. Now, for anybody who's modded before, you'll know that I can't just do it at school. Hey, maybe if there's enough demand, I'll try to like go build a plugin step 1 to finish, and we go from there. But that's not this video. Really, all I want to get across is that there is different ways to approach this. Okay, so for anybody that wants to actually get into modding and writing your own plugin, the best way is if you have C# experience. If you have C# experience, you're probably just going to be able to get into this, set up your Visual Studio your Visual Studio, and go, once you get the package installed, you have the IntelliSense, you're probably going to go. But then again, you go further than that. I mean, it's C#, so it's a pretty high level language. If you've done any other coding, or you have enough drive and you're ready to just kind of poke and prod, I think it's definitely possible, right? I mean, with this quick reload that we have here, I would just recommend, before I talk about any of the fancy stuff, just get set up, get a plugin running, have, a plugin that prints to chat, print a message to chat, compile it, put it onto your server, and see what happens, right? Just kind of get small. That's what, again, I think is the biggest impression that I can give, is like start small and then you could build from there. It's great. You could do it live. It's awesome. So when we look into this, first thing is you want to have Visual Studio. So really all you're doing is you're in C#, you're creating a class library or DLL files. It's just going to be easiest to use Visual Studio. Hey, if you're some advanced programmer, you got Sublime or VS Code, by all means do that. Do it best for you. I just think Visual Studio is going to be best for all that. Makes building solutions easier, makes the IntelliSense easier. Yeah. The Visual Studio, go ahead and download that. Then when you go into to create a new project, I simply, maybe there's a fancier way to do this, I just search up class and then look for the little notation there saying .dll and click on that, and you can name it whatever you want, keep the defaults, whatever it needs, and just start there. And that's really it for Visual Studio, at least. The one more thing we'll need to do is to get the Counterstrike Sharp IntelliSense. And so to do that, we're going to go up to Tools. We're going to go to Packages, NuGet Package Manager. Now, there is a guide I'm going to link here. So if this is your first time in Visual Studio, you will need to, I believe it's just kind of like set up NuGet. Like you'll just have to, in your package manager, you'll have to use NuGet. I'll make sure to link a guide, because to follow that, it'll be easier than doing this live. Go ahead and follow that guide, get NuGet set up. Then past that, go into NuGet Package Manager, search up Counterstrike Sharp API, Rafflemuffin here, and it has 200K downloads. So, you know, like, I mean, that's very, very popular, and download it. It's all you need. It gets you all the IntelliSense, all that, all the class defaults, kind of the built-in, you know, creating the classes and whatnot. It's already there for you. So go ahead and download that first. And past that, like I said, get this set up, build a plugin that prints a message to chat, and you're good to go. I will leave a link in the description as well to the Counterstrike Sharp API reference. It's not the best, so that's why the IntelliSense is just going to be like, the IntelliSense is going to get you where you need. So that's why maybe take a look at some other popular plugin, some other full feature plugin, see the different class methods, see how it's laid out, and then go and try it on your own and kind of get used to the IntelliSense. Because yeah, like I'm saying, the documentation isn't perfect, but I'll leave a link to it so you can check it out and see what you're looking. So once you have that set up, you have your plugin, just a simple write to chat. All you're going to do is go up to the top, you're going to hit build and build solution. And that's all you need. Build and build solution, and there you go. I don't know a fancier way to do it. So once you have that built out, you'll see the path here in the terminal, but easiest way that I found is just right click on your class library in your solution explorer and just view in explorer. Then under that, I believe it's like under bin build, something like that. Go to there, and that's all you need. You'll get your build through your 3 build DLLs out there. If you go back to the WinSCP, then as you saw, I mentioned, you drag those files over into a new folder. That's going to be a key here. Is your plugin name is going to be, match what you kind of named it within your Solution Explorer in VS, and then put all of those in that folder under the specific Counterstrike Sharp plugins folder. There is a slight caveat, if you downloaded a plugin from the public repository, there may be shared or there may be configs. Put those in the matching folder. Basically, it's just a game of matching the file structure, putting them in the right spot. But again, once you kind of get one down, you'll get the hang of it. So just kind of make a note, just be aware of it, and be able to look out for it. And that's it. So you build a plugin from start to stop, you upload it to your server, and again, like we said, it'll live update, and you have your server all built out and on your server. So like I mentioned, I think it's really important there to start small, because I wanted to finish and talk about one of the best aspects of modding is that you can just start at the small as you want. And that would be my recommendation. Is I know that this isn't like, hey, here's how you write a plugin from scratch, but that's because I don't really think you can do that. And if you did, I don't know how effective it would be, because the hardest part is learning what's available. It really is, like, in Counterstrike Sharp, like what commands can you run, like what within CS, like what changes can you make, how can you customize it. And that's where I'm going to say get a plugin going with just like a few chat messages, right? Have, you know, some commands, create a command, like listen for a command, right? Do those kind of things, and start off small. I would probably then recommend referencing some other plugins, right? Like if you have a specific idea, or, you know, you came to this video because you wanted, you know, a specific plugin style or specific game mode, things like that, check on the Discord. Check the Discord for if there's a similar plugin or something already there, and see if there's anything you could take from that. Like that's what's great from having a community and being open source, is you can take bits and pieces. You know, obviously I'm always going to recommend, if you do that, to give credit. You know, I think that's a big deal, but it's there and you can reference it or take inspiration, or, you know, take bits and pieces and add it to your own. And that's what's so good. It's like a lot of the pieces are already out there. It's kind of like you get the option now to build your own custom puzzle. And that's what's great. And it's really just a question of, you know, the hard part of learning what's possible. And then at that point, the limit is just the game itself. You know, I mean, I'm sure you've been like me playing Counterstrike and you've seen all these crazy game modes. So, I mean, there's so much out there. I mean, there's like custom textures and things like that you can hook into if you really get into it. But yeah, it's just a really cool community to be a part of, like a creative community within a game that, you know, I love and maybe you love. If you're into Counterstrike, this is just a really cool aspect to kind of combine it with. You can combine coding and Counterstrike into this really cool, you know, I guess I'll call it symbiotic relationship, where it really bounces off of each other. You get to play the game that you love while also, you know, bettering your skills of coding and learning a new tool, contributing to a community. It's just a really cool mix of stuff to learn. And I'd really love to see everybody get in it. To sum it up, check the description, a lot of helpful links. Check the Discord. That's where a lot of plugins are. For a lot of more help, you know, for a lot of support, you can go there and kind of interact with people similar to you, get some help. But yeah, try it out. Just get into it. I mean, there's no rules. For a lot of it, it's free. Get a server going, try it out, see what you find. But yeah, I mean, if you made it this far, I just want to thank you. It's probably like the first full length video I'm gonna make with editing and all that. So if you got here, I'd love a like and a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. But I mean, past that, anything you can give me, any kind of feedback, you know, if a certain part of the video was helpful but a certain part wasn't, any kind of feedback to make it better, because I'd really like to start making more videos. So if there's anything that you want to tell me, please put it in the comments. And then past that, I mean, I'm really interested, you know, what brought you here. If, you know, you are interested in starting plugins, you know, if you want to learn it and you found this video because you were searching for it, let me know. You know, if you are somebody who, you know, wrote plugins for other games and you got here because you want to do CS, I'd love to know that too. But yeah, just any kind of your backstory, like whatever brought you here, or, you know, the reasons why you want to get into modding for CS2, I'd love to hear in the comments. So let me know. Thank you again, and I guess I'll see you in the next video.